Well, we've got a great program this morning, and we have a great program set up for the rest of the year as well. I just want to remind you before I introduce our first speaker of the year that we will have Michelle Tafoya here next month, who will give us her view of NBC Sunday Night Football, which will be interesting right after the Super Bowl game, so we need to have her here. And then in April, the classes of 1955 speaker in residence will be speaking. Dr. Kenneth Ginsberg is a pediatrician specializing in adolescent medicine at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. So he will be here. And in May, John Wright, who is an old pal of mine, a year behind me here, class of 79, has spent the last 30 years in the financial services industry in Hong Kong. So he will be here sharing his experiences in Asia with us. And then in June, we will have a special edition, head of school edition with Ann Stabney, and we'll probably move over to some fancy country club over on the lake for that, which will be a lot of fun in June. So the food won't be as good, but the view is awesome. So anyway, join us there. So today we have the pleasure of hearing from JoAnne Pastel, who is the mother of Blake kindergartner Jacqueline and 6th grader Billy. I saw Billy in the food line a minute ago, but I guess, is he out there? No, he didn't stick around to hear mom speak, so I won't introduce him. So, after graduating from the University of St. Thomas, JoAnne pursued a career in sales, working for Target and 3M, and Pitney Bowes, and Honeywell, and Animation, and even Piper Jaffray is a financial advisor. But JoAnne had other interests that her corporate life left wanting. So here to tell us about her decision to pursue her passions and the twists and turns along the way is award-winning author, philanthropist, and advocate for children's health, JoAnne Pastel.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out this morning. My name is, let me start over. I'm excited to be here with you this morning, and I'm honored to be able to share with you about some of my experiences and what they have taught me. My name is JoAnne Pastel, and I live in Orono with my husband Bill Dunlap, my son Billy, my daughter Jacqueline, and my dogs Coco and Rosie. Both children attend Blake. William is 12 years old and is in 6th grade here at the Hopkins campus. Jacqueline is 6 years old and is a senior kindergartner at the Highcroft campus. I am so thankful to know that our children's education is in good hands. I know how important it is to have high standards and a solid foundation. I grew up in South Minneapolis in a small, close-knit neighborhood where everyone watched out for each other. And as a child, you understood the importance of respect. I attended Field Elementary School, Anthony Junior High, where at that time it was the first time for busing in the Twin Cities, Ramsey 9th Grade Center, and Central High School. From there, I went to Minneapolis Community College. I received my Associates of Arts in Business Administration. And then from there, I went to St. Thomas, received my Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration, and my Master's in International Management, and a concentration in marketing. My parents were blue-collar workers, and I was the first in my family to graduate from college. I had my first taste of the business world with my first internship at IBM and then at Target. And at the time, at Target headquarters, there were only 200 stores at the time, and now I think there's like 2,000 stores. From there, I went into sales at Pitney Bowes, Honeywell, Animation, and then I was a financial advisor at US Bancorp Piper Jaffray, where I pretty much ran my own business. After having my son Billy, I decided not to go back to corporate America. I didn't work for a while, but I began to get bored, and I was starting to get the urge to work again. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. I met with a life coach who taught me one simple thing: follow your passion. I remember telling me that she heard a spark in my voice, and when I mentioned that I've always wanted to write a children's book, from there I was inspired and newly motivated, and I started the company Farmer's Hat Productions, which included a series of children's storybooks. That were inspired by and included my son, Billy. He was the main character, and he was Berber. It began to really unfold when I and a friend, Khaki Fitzsimmons, were unable to find books and products that reflected our ethnic diversities and that of our children. Because of this, we were inspired to create Berber and Friends. Berber and Friends characters empower children to develop healthy habits and embrace cultural and physical diversity, all while having fun. Why did we feel this was an unmet need? We didn't see many books for younger children that showed diversity. We wanted kids to see themselves and others in real-life experiences. And we wanted to make a difference. To show what the real world is like, Berber and Friends characters show the diversity of different people and families that exist in our world. To build self-esteem, there aren't a lot of books that show the uniqueness of the human rainbow. We wanted children reading our stories to be able to point to a character and say, they look like me. Berber and Friends characters are not only culturally diverse, but have various physical challenges such as Down syndrome and cerebral palsy. Our books and products included 4 books, which there's samples out there, or examples of them outside, t-shirts, dolls, puzzles, book bags, etc. We put together a huge launch at the Mall of America to introduce Farmer's Hat Productions to the public. The launch was held over 3 days and included several local celebrities such as KSTP's Joe Schmidt, singer Geraldine Steele, the Minnesota mascot from the TC Bear from the Minnesota Twins, Minnesota Timberwolves mascot, Crunch, as well as the Teddy Bear Band. It was a huge hit. Later, we developed an in-flight activity book for Sun Country Airlines. It included crayons and General Mills cereal. We also created an activity book for our local Starbucks coffee shop. Throughout the years at Farmer's Hat Productions, I've had the opportunity to speak to children at many schools and many development centers about the importance of following your dreams and about making a difference. A larger-than-life Berber character even came along and helped to read stories to kids. Since our characters inspired kids to get active, we've also organized local basketball camps. I am humbled by the fact that in 7 years of running Farmer's Hat Productions business, we were able to touch more lives than I could have ever imagined. Because of our unique products, characters, and messages, we connected with people and organizations all over the country and received both local and national recognition. Our awards and recognitions are the iParenting Media Award for the Best Product, Mom's Choice Award, Teacher's Choice Award, Nickelodeon Parents' Pick for the Best Local Blog. We were semi-finalists in the Minnesota Cup. We were featured in several publications such as Crave magazine, Minnesota Business, Lake Minnetonka magazine, a New Jersey Family magazine, and more. And also, I had the opportunity to meet with President Clinton and President Obama and received letters from both regarding the Farmer's Hat books. As my business grew, so did my family. We welcomed baby Jacqueline in the summer of 2008. A few months later, we received a call from our daughter's pediatrician telling us that a blood test resulted being positive for neurofibromatosis type 1, also known as NF1. This was discovered because she had several cafe au lait spots on her body. At that time, Jacqueline was only 4 months old. Like many of you, we had never heard of NF before. It affects over 2 million people worldwide, with NF1 affecting 1 out of 3,000 people. NF is a genetic disorder that can cause skin changes as well as tumors to grow throughout the nerves in the body. NF can also cause learning disabilities, scoliosis, cancer, high blood pressure, vision problems, and much more. And currently, there's no cure. Thankfully, the pediatrician discovered it at such a young age and referred us to the necessary specialists. Because of this disorder, Jacqueline has an entire team of doctors that continually check her health and development. She has already gone through more tests than you and I could in a lifetime. However, we feel very, truly blessed to have such a wonderful medical facility in our area. We believe that we have the best care for our daughter. As Jacqueline celebrated her 6th birthday this past year, we look back at how much our lives have changed since the diagnosis. Most would never know there's anything wrong. Jacqueline is a fun-loving girl with lots of energy and charm, and who's trying to always keep up with her big brother. Currently, she has no severe learning disabilities and is doing well. But she does have multiple cafe au lait spots, a tumor on her tongue, optic glioma, and a slight bowing of her left arm. Jacqueline had major surgery just this past summer to remove a tumor about the size of a small potato that started creating a hole in the back of her skull. She recovered quickly, though, and the surgery was a success. It's been quite a journey, but I have decided to take an approach of creating awareness and fundraising for neurofibromatosis and other childhood diseases or illnesses in the hopes of educating others. We currently are working with the University of Minnesota Neurofibromatosis Without Walls and have set up a research fund under Jacqueline's name. In 2011, I was asked to be a member of the board of directors for the Children's Tumor Foundation. It's been a privilege to be able to join a team that is dedicated to the fight against NF. During my years spent serving on the board, I was able to serve as chair for the Minnesota NF Walk. The Walk is a national fundraising program that supports NF research, raises awareness, and provides support for the NF, for people that have NF and their families. I organize and manage the Minnesota NF Walk for 3 years, starting with their inaugural walk. Each year has brought record-breaking numbers and media attention. Another step I took in promoting awareness of NF was introducing a new character called Nina to the Farmer's Hat production series, inspired by my daughter Jacqueline. Nina has to go to the doctor a lot and has cafe au lait spots, and yet is a normal, fun-loving little girl. Kids with NF can relate to Nina, and others learn about Nina and about what NF is. Jacqueline's illness made me realize how more awareness needs to be spread about these types of things that children and their families face. Our characters like Nina helped to connect others with organizations such as the Tumor Foundation, Hammer Residences, Stop CADE Now, and more. In 2013, I had the honor of serving as honorary co-chair and spokesperson for WineFest number 18, a toast to children's health, which raised over $600,000, benefiting children's health, research, education, and care at the University of Minnesota Masonic Children's Hospital. There's so much more I could share with you about how my life has led me down the path that I could never have planned or dreamt for myself. There has been many good things and many challenging things. When I started writing books, I took a huge risk. I created something that didn't exist. I had doors shut in my face, and I had people tell me that I'd never succeed. Even though I eventually chose to close the business, it has opened up so many other doors. Ultimately, it led me to the transition from writing children's books to focusing on cause marketing. I started a new company called Aspire Marketing Group, where I'm committed to helping others shine. Through Aspire, we strive to help businesses and nonprofit organizations maximize their efforts in order to further their causes. We aim to make a difference by brainstorming new ways to improve management, marketing, and fundraising techniques, creating strategic network opportunities, helping to establish mutually beneficial partnerships, increasing exposure for the organizations and its efforts. From my work creating marketing strategies for small businesses to being a professional motivational speaker, I am committed to my work and truly hope to make a difference. My children are my motivation. All I need to do is look into their big brown eyes, and I realize what is important. I see their lively spirits and refreshing energy, and I dream about the people they will become. I know that the education they are receiving at Blake is priceless and will be a big factor in helping to prepare them for what lies ahead. I wish that all children could have the same opportunity. I didn't have the same opportunity and privileges my children are blessed to have. Even so, the things that have shaped my life have made me into a stronger person, and that's why I'm standing today before all of you. No matter who you are or where you're from, what you've been through, how old or young you are, what abilities you may or may not possess, don't be afraid to take risk. The limitations we put on ourselves can be the most inhibiting of all. And don't underestimate the influence that you can have in the lives of others. Nothing is more rewarding than knowing that a life has been positively changed because of something you said or did, no matter how small. I'm beyond grateful for the people that have made a difference in my life and in the lives of my children. Thank you for the privilege to share even just one glimpse, a small glimpse into what they have taught me. I challenge you to go out and pay it forward. Think of those who have touched your lives and let it continue into the next generations. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We've got some time for some questions, of course, so if anyone has a question for JoAnne, don't be bashful about being the first to ask.
Are your books still available?
As I mentioned, I closed the business down, but I do have some books at home, but no, they're not online anymore.
JoAnne, what did you learn most from that shift to corporate America to entrepreneurialism, which is huge, and you obviously plunged into it very successfully, but what advice would you give others doing the same thing?
Like I said, don't be afraid to take risk. A lot of people, when they want to do something, have to think about it and think and just plan. And I'm probably too much of the opposite way. I just do it. So it's probably good to have a combination of, planning it out but don't be afraid to take that step. You may have to readjust things that you're doing, but go for it. Actually, my son, Billy, can you come up? I want people to see you. This is my son, Billy. He's actually a 6th grader here at the Hopkins campus. It is a challenge. There are times that he feels like I'm spending too much attention on Jacqueline, and there are times that Jacqueline feels I spend too much time on Jacqueline. So it's a balancing act that I spend. I'm still trying to figure out. If any of you can tell me how to figure it out, I'd appreciate it. But I try to make sure they both know that I love them both, and that, when I do have to spend the time with Jacqueline, taking her doctors and so forth, Billy's actually an actor. He's going to be in play, and, I spend time with him, taking him and so forth. So, any other?
How hard is it to get your books out there because they are?
Yeah, one thing I didn't say is that when I wrote, I'm sorry.
Repeat the question.
Okay, she said, how hard is it to get the books out there, especially being children's books? I self-published my books, and when I self-published back then, you didn't want to tell people you self-published. It's completely different now. I wanted to create a brand. My dream was to start an animation series with the characters. But it's extremely hard to market the books, even when you self-publish, because if you go to Barnes & Noble, you see all these books that are on the shelves, and you have to go do readings. And I had hired a PR person to help me at first, so I went out and did interviews all over. And then I went from being national, trying to be national, then to local, because I felt like I was spreading myself too thin. So just the hardest part is creating awareness of your books. Because, like I said, there's so many out there, and some authors are well known.
And as a follow-up, the fact that you were dealing with diversity and both cultural and physical, which seemed to be a new niche, do you think the books that you've written fulfill that need, or is there book 5, 6, 7 in the future maybe that can teach us more?
I wish I could continue writing the books. To be honest with you, I really didn't make much money. You don't make much money writing books. And so it was a choice I decided, and it was a tough choice that I just needed to close the business. I would love to continue and go on with other books. I started to bring examples of covers that I had that show, basketball and swimming and all these other books, and just to include all the different types of children or people that exist out here. You don't see that in books. When Billy, and one of the reasons why I started the business is when Billy was about 2 or 3, I went to Barnes & Noble, and it was the majority of the younger books were geared toward girls. There was nothing really showing boys that looked like him, in there. And I didn't talk about color in my books. It just showed the diversity, which I feel is very important. And also it showed diversity among people's race, red hair, freckles, blonde, so I wanted to show that so people can see. And the families, diversity in families.
how do you feel that diversity exists at Blake with the kids in your kid and their friends, both with cultural and physical issues?
Well, being in Minnesota, I mean, it's changing. I've lived here my whole life, and I've watched it change over the years. My kids started at Highcroft campus, so it's not as diverse out there. It's much more diverse here at the Hopkins campus. I'd like to see more diversity here, and you know, as far as books with, you know, I'm not sure. I'm sorry. So you were asking about as far as seeing. Just
how you feel that the diversity is being accepted, and how comfortable kids of cultural and physical differences feel here.
You know, that's an interesting question, because I feel a lot of it depends on where a person grows up and what they're exposed to and how accepting other people are of them. I've been lucky, and I've had opportunity to do a lot of different things, but I feel like depending on the person, they may not be as comfortable, you know, with exposure or with other different people. So.
And how do you think your kids feel?
I feel like they can. I feel, you know, now that they're here, I feel like being out at Wayzata, they kind of felt isolated. So I made an effort to bring them around different types of people, and I feel like they feel comfortable now. But at one point, you know, depending on where you live and you don't see certain people, people don't feel as comfortable. So that's why I feel it's important, at least in Minnesota with the books. You know, you go down to Miami, you have everybody together, or other cities. Yes.
I'm curious to see how the children react to the books. How Billy and Jacqueline, would they involve in brainstorming with you to, you know, create the episodes? Were they too young? How did they play in addition to the cast?
Yeah, actually, Berber was Billy's imaginary friend. And he came home one day from daycare, kept saying Berber, Berber. And I'm like, what is this Berber? I went to school, went to daycare and asked what it was, and they just said, it's not a book. So then I kind of liked the way, you know, when I was trying to decide what I wanted to do and decided it was children's book, I thought, you know, I liked Berber. I liked the way it sounds, so I thought it was, so that's how we came up and decided to name Billy the character Berber. Yeah, because of the business that I was in, it really taught me a lot, and because of Jacqueline's NF, I was able to organize the walk, and I've done NF Awareness Day or night at the Minnesota Twins, and so I thought, you know, why not take this and help other companies or small, you know, nonprofits help to create awareness and think outside the box. My goal is to create strategic partnerships that they may not be able to know people there at the organizations. That's my goal, is to help with that. So just to develop awareness and you know, to help them become even more successful. Yes, nonprofit, small businesses, whoever needs the help. And thank you for coming. I grew up with these women here, so thank you so much. I appreciate you coming. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming too.
Thanks,
JoAnne, so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
And thank all of you for coming. And as a little token of our appreciation, we have some Blake gifts for you. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I thank you for taking the time to come.
Thanks. It's just great. Thank you.
Thank you
done
so
good.
much.
Really,
Thank
really
you.
good.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for joining us today. Don't forget, we'll talk all in a month and children's medicine the month after that. We've got a great program, so stick with us through the remaining months of Breakfast at Blake. See you soon.